Well,
I mean, that
yeah.
makes sense.
That makes
What do you
sense.
really
Yeah,
expect?
so here's who I got.
His
But it was
notebook.
like,
This is what I
Dude,
got.
no, you gotta look at his notebook.
I wish it would have just been like straight up, yeah, they were gay together, rather
Yeah.
than like it doesn't say that. It just kind of
Yeah, there's
skirts
not
it.
very many of those like male endings.
Yeah, like the Sylvain Felix one was like they were really good friends and spent their lives together, implying, yeah. But I wish they just would have said, yeah, they were butt fucking. It was great. Like,
Ugh.
sorry, did we go live?
Yeah,
Yes.
we did.
Oh.
Well, this is why I have the mature label on the channel.
Yeah.
So
Right, like I just wish it was like
You
didn't
would have
skirt
wished it
around
would have
it.
said. You would have wished they would have said they were partners for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, like
and they worked
yeah, they are,
actually
and great.
together.
Yeah,
And it wasn't like they were good friends.
rather
and worked
than just
together.
implicating it and not really just
Yeah.
pushing it, saying, yeah, that's
rather
weird.
than skirting around it.
Yeah, like guys,
which I mean they don't
2019,
do.
guys. Come on.
They don't do for a lot of the female.
Oh really?
They don't skirt
Like
around
the-
it.
No, so like
That. Yeah.
like Shamir and Catherine can have an ending.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's a good pair.
Dorothea can have an ending with like almost anybody. You can pretty much pair her up with a whole bunch of people, including folks who won't romance like femme Byleth. Like Dorothea and Petra can have an ending, but if you're femme Byleth, you can't romance Petra.
I played Femme Byleth in my New Game Plus. I chose for her to be single at the end.
Oh no, that's so sad.
There was nobody in the blue line. I don't know. There was nobody I liked.
Really?
No.
I
Like
don't know.
Sylvain, no. Felix,
Not gonna
no.
lie, I am.
Dimitri, not really. Dedu, no.
Nah.
And I wanted Annette to be with Ash, which didn't happen. I think it was Ash.
I love
Ash
me a little redhead.
and-
So.
Annette is my favorite on Blue Line.
Yeah.
She's my favorite Blue Line by far. I'm your girl. Every time you pick her, I'm your girl.
I just love her support with oh fudge, I can't remember her name, but where she's like, oh yeah, hey, I have this makeup, let's put it on you, and oh, let's do a makeover.
Ingrid.
Oh, that's
yes,
Ingrid. Yeah.
with her and Ingrid. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just beyond precious.
All right, so so before we begin, here's the pairings that I'm trying for in my New Game Plus route. Claude and Lysithea, Ignatz and Marianne, Lawrence and Hilda. Once again, Bernie and Raphael. That actually, it worked out the first time. I'm going for round 2. So Leone and Sedith.
Really?
Manuela and Ferdinand.
The only match for Leone is Gerald, and that's just not happening.
Nope. Petra and Cyril. Mercedes and Ash. Annette and Linhart. Ingrid and Sylvain. And then Dorothea and Byleth.
I didn't think Cyril could get to A with anybody.
I mean, this is according to a Reddit post that I found that
I never
says,
paid much attention to Cyril, honestly.
Apparently, his personal ability is he has an extra 20% chance for stat growth.
Yeah, he's just every Fire Emblem has a character like that.
Yeah,
it just has a chance to super level.
Yeah. Also, now that I understand how stat growth works in this game, I think it's really interesting, and I'm going to be tweaking some elements. Basically, I've been retooling the 8-Bit Adventures game project basically this whole time, and I'm going to be retooling it for something a little more like that. Like, I can't do the whole like number one, RPG Maker doesn't do actor-based stats. It does class-based stats only. There's ways to kind of get around that. But instead it'll be, instead of basically saying like strength has a 50% chance to, level up a point every time you level up. It'll be at certain levels, all of your stats go up by 1, and then you also get stat allocation points every level, and certain characters can only allocate towards certain stats, and then your class can also determine what stats you can allocate to, and then your stats will also give you bonus stats.
My Ingrid would never ever. She never got strength on her level ups. It annoyed me to no end.
That is very sad.
She was so weak in the first half of the game, but every time I gardened, I got strength items. I kept doing purple flowers so I could get strength items. I eventually
Courtney,
caught her
you're
up, and
muted.
she was basically one of my most powerful
There we go.
characters at the end.
Yeah, I've been doing pretty good with Ingrid so far. Like I
Just
haven't come
whether
across anything.
If you get strength, I just
Yeah.
6 or 7 levels in a row, I didn't get a strength on her.
I think by the end of my first playthrough, I think Dorothea had like 45 charm.
Oh yeah, my flame charm was so dumb.
It was absurd. And then high magic, and like around like 30 magic. So like, I gave her 11 sword. She would use that plus the skill where you deal bonus damage. I think it was Soul Blade. You deal bonus damage based on your charm.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, it was gross. So.
My Annette could one-shot pretty much anything. It was silly.
Yep. All right. Well, we got a lot to cover.
Yes.
Especially a lot of... I really want to talk about the D&D stuff, because definitely there's a lot of questions surrounding Eberron. So.
Yeah.
I've paid no attention to it, so you'll have to educate me.
Yeah. All right. I'll put my shipping notebook away. It's basically what it is.
I mean, that's what it is.
It really is. Going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming up on episode 154, news out of GamesCom. Eberron gets a book, Disney and Sony can't negotiate, and much, much more on the 8-Bit Adventures podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the 8-Bit Adventures podcast. We're bringing you the latest and greatest geeky news of the week. I'm your host, Sean Hayes, and with me are my wonderful co-hosts, Courtney Bolin.
Hey, everybody.
And Josh York.
Earlier today I had a gag I was going to do, but I forgot what it was. I totally
You got to start writing that stuff
down.
That's
what you get for dropping that F-bomb in the pre-show.
Yeah.
Yes. That is exactly what you get.
Yep.
Yeah. So it goes.
Yep. But yeah. So some big news this week. Definitely D&D related big news, and then a lot of indie announcements for Nintendo. But why don't we get right into the biggest news? Probably is Sony and Disney. Basically the Spider-Man contract was up for negotiation, and so the situation is, the way it works right now is Disney Marvel gets a 5% dollar gross on Spider-Man movies, which is sort of the same. How is it described? The same deal that Leonardo DiCaprio had for movies like Inception. Right. So a whole studio that technically owns the character is getting the same cut of money that an actor gets in a film.
Yeah, that's...
Wait, who's getting that?
Marvel Disney is getting that cut.
Okay.
Fine.
That 5%.
How does that work with Avengers?
No. This is just from
so
Spider-Man.
this is
I
for
know, but Spider-Man
for
is in
Sony.
Avengers, so there's got to be some type of deal in the
But
contract for that too.
well, I don't know what the contract is for that. This is for this is basically related to Sony's Spider-Man films.
Also, 5% of 100 billion or
but
whatever.
as
Yeah.
However much
opposed
movie.
to
Right. So
However much movie.
what Disney was proposing was a 50-50, what did I put? Co-financing deal. So basically it would kind of, Disney would get more money out of it. And basically be listed as like a co-financier out of the deal. So it was, they pitched that, and then Sony returned with, nah, let's just keep the deal that we have, which, I mean, basically, the two companies are coming at this from wildly different positions, and, you know, if those are the two routes that they're going to take, the end result is no more Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
but Tom Holland does have a
Yeah, but they'll be made by
contract
Sony
for
and they'll suck.
two more Spider-Man movies.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Right. They'll be made
Just
by
wanted to-
Sony. They'll be made by Sony.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah.
Have you seen Ultimate Spider-Man?
No,
Or
I
whatever the
didn't.
one. Exactly, the two really bad ones.
Yeah. And a lot of folks are pointing
No.
to how whatchamacallit, Spider-Verse turned out.
Yeah.
I wonder if Spider-Verse was just a fluke. And how
It's
good
different.
it was.
It's not. It's animated. It's not.
Yeah,
live
well, and
action.
that's the other thing too.
Yeah. It's animated, and there's also it was pulling from so many different universes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that was really what it was, a really unique, like, hey, let's bring them all in.
It was just the writing was better. Story
Yeah.
was better. Writing was better. Narrative was better. Direction was better. Direction was better because it's animated. You're not directing real people. You can do what
Yep.
you want with animation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
you can break physics with
like,
animation.
Not even that. Just your storytelling vision
Although I will
can be
say,
accomplished more easily via animation.
Far From Home did give me a headache. I mean, not Far From Home. Into the Spider-Verse, because of all of the contrast with the colors and the storybook animations. It really messed with my head and my eyes. But I really liked the story.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that they still signed on Tom Holland.
He was probably. It was probably dumb
he's
way
already-
before that.
Yeah,
That was
he's
probably as soon as he
already-
signed on for whatever number of movies.
Yeah, this is a continuation. He still has 2 more movies in his contract.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just, that's interesting
least
because
From stuff that I was reading today. Yeah.
okay. Which means that they'll probably have to pay him a whole bunch more money to do the 4th and 5th movie.
Yes,
because
they will,
of
because
of SAG
every-
laws.
Yep. Similar to
Well, not laws,
how,
but yeah.
with the bylaws of SAG, every time you play the same character, you get more money.
Well, not necessarily. It's after 3 movies.
Yeah.
In a given franchise, it's then your
Typecasting.
pay rate goes up quite a bit because of typecasting. It is in fact why Robert Downey Jr. makes so much money, is because he just keeps playing Iron Man.
Yeah.
So it's as part of contract
so
negotiations.
And so
his
Disney
rate
said, no,
just
we gotta
naturally
kill him off.
his rate naturally keeps going up and up and up.
Yeah.
The rumor was Disney was able to get around that slightly by saying that Iron Man and Avengers were technically different franchises, so it didn't do that or whatever, but yeah.
But still, with how many of each of those movies,
yeah,
it still came out to ridiculous sums of money.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see. I also don't know like what the weird relationship would be, like if Marvel Studios would still put like its branding on it, because it would be technically licensed from. I don't know. It's weird. This is like this example of Spider-Man and previously the X-Men and Fantastic Four were a prime example of the biggest mess that you can get into with like copyright and licensing. Where, yeah, I don't know. Or it would just be Marvel in general, but not Marvel Studios or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, as much as just I feel like you put it perfectly, Sean, when you said that Sony and Disney were coming at these from two wildly different perspectives.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean, the thing is,
Disney is like, we're doing all the work and making you a
Yeah.
lot of money
yeah,
To be extremely
because
fair,
you screwed up Spider-Man so badly.
we've
Yeah.
had how
Before.
many Spider-Man movies since Tobey Maguire?
There were two
Well,
after Tobey Maguire.
there were 3 Tobey Maguire movies. Then there were
Three
two
Tobeys.
Andrew
Two
Garfield
Andrew
movies.
Garfield.
Mhm.
There was Venom, which not technically a
Did all right.
Spider-Man movie, but
But
yeah.
mostly. And then we have now had
3 Tom Holland
Um,
movies.
3 Tom Holland movies.
2, and then he was in Avengers a couple times.
Yeah, so
2 Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, 2 Spider-Man movies.
Was it just Homecoming and Far From Home? I thought there was one before that.
He was in Civil War.
No, but his
I'm
movies
I'm
though,
talking
were
specifically
Homecoming-
Sony movies.
His movies were Homecoming and Far From Home.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I could have sworn that there
So
was one
by
before Homecoming.
So by the
I think
So
you're
by the-
thinking of Civil War. Was the first one he showed up in.
Okay.
So by the time Tom Holland is done though, because he has 2 more, that is 10 Spider-Man movies.
Well, yeah, if they're not counting Avengers and Spider-Man movies,
If they're not counting Avengers and Spider movies.
that's 2.
So
Well, and then technically Spider-Verse as well.
Right.
So 11.
Is that more than Batman?
um
Since we were talking last week about how DC just has so many Batman movies and they just keep rebooting Batman.
and this
Might be
this
more
is
than
since
Batman.
2002, guys.
That's a lot.
I mean,
This is
Spider-Man's
since 2002.
right, but you're also talking about maybe one of the most popular superheroes of all time in Spider-Man. Why do you think Spider-Man and Batman have so many movies? Because they're like easily those
No,
2
I
are in the
get
top
it.
5 most popular heroes.
But I feel like there's just been some major oversaturation of
In
Spider-Man.
superhero
Like,
movies?
It's like you hear
Yeah,
Well,
I've been
yeah.
saying that for a long time.
Well, like you hear when a Spider-Man movie's coming out and you're like, gee, another one? Didn't they just do one?
Well, the other
Like,
problem is
that's
they
how
keep
I felt for
rebooting
the
it.
Yeah.
Like
I also
Batman.
think it feels like that because of all the Avengers movies. It feels like that.
Yeah. It's I think I'm actually starting to agree with you, Josh, and I'm starting to get superhero fatigue.
Yeah, I think for going forward is Marvel should focus more on shows.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where I feel like there would be less fatigue. Because like we've always had superhero shows.
Yeah, but the money.
Yeah. A superhero show though is something like when that gets on to, because they're going on to Disney Plus. And when that goes on to Disney Plus a season at a time, you binge it and you're good. It's,
In the
No,
end,
I'm just
it's
in
a
the end,
saying
it's
weekend.
not. It's not what the people want. Well, kind of, but it's where the money is,
yeah.
which is a product of what the people want.
Yep.
But as long as there's enough people going to those movies and those
Yeah.
movies make as much as they do, they ain't stopping.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they're going to get some backlash with this new stage of MCU because they're doing a bunch of movies of characters nobody knows much about or cares much about.
Maybe.
I think.
I don't know.
And I also do think the superhero fatigue is starting to hit everyone.
For me, it's just now starting to hit.
And they
with,
also have
like-
just finished the big story arc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Started at the beginning in 2008. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay.
So
The
an
story's
11-year
done.
process. And that's the other thing too, is you think about how many movies have happened in this 11-year span. and it's just
Which Avengers actors are still on board?
a good amount of them.
Like
I think
is Captain who plays Captain America? What's the guy's name?
the new
Chris
Captain
Evans.
America.
Chris
So
Evans.
Chris Evans done.
Is he out?
Chris
Okay,
Evans is done.
He's done. Robert Downey Jr. is
Because
done.
done.
Yep.
Hulk.
So Mark Ruffalo, I don't know. The Russo brothers keep joking that he's fired, but I think he's
Mark
still
Ruffalo,
in
we
if he wants to
don't
be.
know.
I know Chris Hemsworth has said he will play as long as they keep inviting him back to play Thor. He's all in on playing Thor.
I mean, if you don't have,
aren't we getting a Valkyrie movie though?
if you don't have your top tier Avengers, that ain't gonna work anymore. I don't think.
Because I know,
Are we getting a Valkyrie
I mean,
movie?
because in phase 4? I think we're in phase 4. It's Doctor Strange. It's Thor. Although I don't know how much of a role Hemsworth will have in the new movie, since it'll be probably focused more around Jane Foster.
It'll probably be half and half.
Might be.
I think it'll be half Thor and half. If it's the story, I think it's gonna be.
Yeah. Let's see what else. I can't remember what other movies they're gonna do. Oh, Blade.
It's not Wesley Snipes. I don't care.
Aw.
Ryan Reynolds was in a Blade movie
Okay,
Yes,
yes,
he
Marvel
was.
Phase...
with
So,
Jessica Biel. Yes.
All right, guys. So the Marvel
Yeah.
Phase 4, yeah. So it's going to include Black Widow. It is
Oh,
going
that's
to
right.
include
Yeah.
Don't care.
the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Definitely don't care.
Is that a movie or is that?
It just says fall 2020. I'm not sure.
Well, does it have Disney Plus next to it or not?
I'm pretty sure it's a
not.
movie.
I'm not seeing. It doesn't have it. I'm on a article on The Verge.
Oh no, there's a graphic that has this information on it.
Mm-hmm.
Just the graphic images. Phase 4.
And of course, you have to filter out all the fake ones.
Absolutely.
The only thing I'm interested in is if they do some type of X-Men thing.
I honestly don't think they will.
They have X-Men now. So
I know X-Men.
No, the What If is the one that's going to be going to Disney Plus.
Let's see.
Vision, the WandaVision.
No, WandaVision.
Yeah.
WandaVision's Disney Plus. Hawkeye's Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Loki's Disney Plus.
Loki's Disney Plus.
What If? Shang-Chi. Eternals. Looks like another Black Panther. Falcon and Winter Soldier is, I think it's a mini-series on Disney Plus. It's not a movie.
And then Black Widow.
Black Widow's a movie.
Yep. And the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
That's a movie.
Yeah. And then Thor again.
Yep.
So
Multiverse of Madness might be cool.
I'm excited for that. I think because I like Doctor Strange.
That has an opportunity to be really different.
Yeah.
And with Doctor Strange, you can get really weird with it.
Yep.
Which I appreciate. I think you can probably get. Isn't Scarlet Witch supposed to be in that? And you can actually see her be actually powerful, like she's supposed to be.
I think so.
By the way, just so you know, in the comics, Scarlet Witch so strong, she erased 80% of the mutants out of the Marvel universe because she was sad.
Because
a little bit terrifying, just a little
I think
bit.
her power is based on the reality stone, right?
She
and
changed
so
reality.
Many great things.
Yeah.
She just got rid of 80 or 90% of all mutants.
Yeah.
Because she was a little sad. That's all.
Yep.
House of M. It's a good read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Marvel said that they they would like to do something in the future with Fantastic Four and X-Men, but they just there's nothing concrete at this time.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to shoehorn them in with what you already. Although, since I actually, now that I say that out loud, not really, because they kind of got a blank slate to start with at this point.
They do.
Like I said,
Yeah,
the main story's done.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like you can.
Well, and
move on to
there's
something
already
new.
the slip in for X-Men with Deadpool.
Kind of. Deadpool's not really X-Men.
I don't think they've really
Deadpool just
they
kind
didn't
of
say one
moves
way
in
or
and out of
another.
everybody.
Yeah.
Deadpool just
Yeah.
kind of hops in and out of different.
I
That's
don't
what
know if
there's a little bit of a connection there made already. Is the best thing that I'm putting.
But that was also Fox. That was not an MCU.
Yeah. Yeah, Deadpool's not MCU.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I forget that.
Yeah.
I forget that.
And I don't know because of Disney.
I was gonna say that's why. Yeah,
where
that's why I'm
Dis-
getting confused because
apparently
Disney owns Fox.
I was reading an article where I guess, and it may just be an opinion of like one of the Disney executives, but they're not happy about Taika Waititi's latest film that's coming out because it was already slated for production when Disney bought Fox. It's I forget the name of it, but it's like a farce movie about Hitler.
Yeah, I saw it.
And it was.
Is it like a Springtime for Hitler? Like
kind of
from the producers?
Kind of. Yeah. And it's just like Disney feels that it's a little too edgy for what they want to do, which that's a whole nother discussion. But it's
I have no comment.
It's just an executive being an executive and thinking, oh no, it might hurt our family friendly image.
How many people know about that movie?
I think it's totally being overblown.
Yeah,
also, it's just the opinion of a single executive who has nothing to do with the film anyway.
Yeah.
But I think it's Taika actually plays Hitler in the film.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
With like his New Zealand accent and everything.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just trying to imagine this now, and literally all I can think of is the producer's Springtime for Hitler.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that it's supposed to be in that vein. Where it's meant to be. It's meant to be
well, the thing is,
biting satire.
For Hitler was never actually made as a farce. It was just how it was acted was how it became a farce.
Oh, well, I mean, obviously this is intended as a farce.
So this one is just intended, and I'm like, this is going to be even better. Yeah.
But yeah, to get back on topic a little bit. So
Spider-Man.
Yeah. Probably not anytime soon, unless the next Sony movie comes out and it is not good. In which case, then who knows? Sony may go crawling back and be like, "Oh, it turns out we actually need help." So.
Could be.
Well.
Maybe. You know who could definitely use help is Legendary making another Warcraft movie.
How about no and just have Blizzard make their own?
Sure. They'll use all that WoW Classic money.
Yeah, well, just
apparently subs are back up.
To what?
I don't know. They won't release numbers.
No, they released numbers got leaked the other day, I think.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, so moving on into let's do some game news. So Josh, I presume you put in there was some info about Death Stranding at GamesCom.
Yeah, they just Hideo Kojima did a little conference and really this game's so weird.
I was gonna say, is it still weird?
It's still real weird. So it kind of gave a little explanation of what the babies are.
Well,
like, if you've seen the trailers,
the babies like sense the spirit
but
world
explained
or something,
why.
right?
Explained like what. So it's like, oh, the babies weren't stillborn, but the mothers are still like their brains are like still. So it's like the opposite of a stillborn baby. So, and they like C-section them out when the mother's brain is like dead, but there's the mother's still alive. So there's like some weird connection between the world of the living and the world of the dead. And that's why the babies can sense that. It obviously doesn't make any real sense. It's just weird, which is fine. I expect that.
That's
out
very
of a
Kojima.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so it was just, and it was like Guillermo, I can't say his name, Del Toro.
Del Toro, yeah.
Del Toro.
Yeah. But he's a character in it.
Yep.
And he's the one doing all the explaining to Norman Reedus. I don't know their game names. I just will call them their actor names.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he's explaining that, and then it shows a little bit of gameplay, which apparently urinating is a thing you can do. It's like, oh, you need to pee? You can pee.
Do you have a pee meter?
Yeah,
like
it shows
in
like
Scott
milliliters
Pilgrim?
going down. Yeah, it shows how many milliliters are leaving your bladder.
Yeah.
Oh,
Apparently.
jeez.
It's like, okay.
When was the last time we had it? Was Duke Nukem the last time we had something like that?
Yeah,
I
I don't
think-
know.
That's why.
Because Kojima's just weird, and
Yeah.
he, like, that extra bit of kind of realism for him, I guess, is.
Oh no, I guess The Sims would be the last one to do something
Well,
like
Yeah.
that.
And there's
Yeah.
probably, I mean, it's probably a mechanic. Like, I bet if you run around too much with a full bladder, you'll have a penalty or something. But
Or
the
I'm
whole
sure-
point of the
Start
game
doing
is,
you'll start doing the little shuffle.
well,
that
the
you have to
game,
pee.
I would imagine maybe you take damage or something, but or you slow down, because the whole game is you basically deliver packages. So the premise is something bad happened to the world, and you're trying to connect all the cities in the United States again.
Yep.
It's basically The Postman, Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
It's basically that. You're just running around delivering packages as much as anybody can tell. It's like, from what anybody can tell. So
With monsters.
with weird ghost
Yep.
terrorist monsters. I'm not
Yeah.
entirely sure what it's all about, which is great, because fine. It's just going to be weird, and I'll accept that.
It's
'Cause I
just
like-
gonna be weird, and I'll accept it.
I'm into weird.
and- Yeah, you
'Cause
are.
I'm always down to go on Kojima's wild
You're always
ride.
down for some strange.
Yep.
Yeah, for him, for sure. I mean, Metal Gear Solid's like supposed to be a realistic military game, but there's psychics and
Yeah.
fire whales and guys made of fire and mechanized nuclear weapons, and
Yeah.
it's so fine. See, the thing with Kojima is he wanted to be a filmmaker
Mm-hmm.
when he was younger, and it just never panned out for him. So now he just does it in games and just makes it really weird.
I mean, that's not a bad thing.
No, because he kind of gets, again, in video games is another, well, I guess with animation, you can kind of do whatever you want.
Yep.
Mhm.
And it's just more conducive to
I
kind
do
of
what I want.
experimentation. So, yeah, I just, again, there's a lot to have in Gamescom, but I
Yeah.
just wrote down a couple of things that I'm interested in.
Mhm.
So I was glad to see a little bit of information that kind of makes sense for Death
Yeah.
Stranding, because I think that game comes out in October, November, so
It's soon.
soonish.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to that, and just like I said, glad for the weirdness that Kojima brings to games.
Nice. And I presume this is also out of Gamescom. Mortal Kombat 11.
Oh yeah, so they announced some new characters coming out for DLC.
Yep.
Including, so I forget her name, but she was in other Mortal Kombat, some sorcerer woman. And then the Joker,
Yep.
which doesn't look very good visually. They dropped the ball on that one, on the model.
Yeah.
And Spawn. And the best one was the Terminator. Like, what?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is what we're doing, Mortal Kombat. I'm in on that.
Yeah.
So I'm glad for that. None of my friends play fighting games, so sad.
Yeah.
Sad face tear
Sorry.
for me. But
Actually,
Yeah.
Sorry, I like simpler games.
I can't remember
they
if
are
we
simple. Punch kick.
I can't remember if we
Kick
talked
punch,
about it
it's
on
all
the
in the mind.
podcast, But
I like it
apparently,
with a storyline or puzzles.
Mortal Kombat definitely has a storyline.
yeah, it does. In fact, it's often different with each fighter that you pick.
Yeah. This Mortal Kombat 11
I
has
find it
an
very.
overarching story mode. Where
I
you
find
switch
it
characters
very,
all the time.
very, very, very hard to believe that a game like that actually has a legit story mode.
Better story than Stardew, for sure.
You shut your mouth.
I will not agree with that statement. However, Courtney, Mortal Kombat does have a whole bunch of storylines.
Really?
Yeah,
to
Mortal
it.
Kombat
Yeah.
has Mortal Kombat 11 has one story mode, and you play different characters throughout the story. It's not like Street Fighter where you pick a character's story and play
Mhm.
just their like 5 or 6 fights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mortal Kombat has
past
just
past
one
games were
story
like that.
mode. Yeah, it might have. I know this one just
Yeah.
has one story mode. It's not
But
bad.
yeah.
I mean, it's not amazing. It's like a cheesy B movie. It's like the Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah.
So
that is the brand.
Yeah.
Um,
which is on brand and perfect
Yeah.
for it. So why not?
I do know. I can't remember if we talked about it on the podcast, but yeah, apparently there were some articles circulating about like the dev teams that work on Mortal Kombat apparently are having a lot of problems, like psychological problems from having to
What?
watch basically really gory videos for source material for fatalities and stuff like that.
Oof, yeah. Well, I could see that.
Oh no.
So yeah, it's imagine having to
It's like those content moderators that actually have to look at all of the terrible things.
kind of it actually the two articles came out around the same time.
Like that's something that I remember is like yeah, like people who have to like review stuff for things.
Well, and it's but I mean the thing is like the people that are reviewing that stuff, I mean they're just determining whether to block it or not. Whereas you know, these guys are having to go out and look at it in order to replicate it in the game and make it feel correct, quote unquote, for podcast listeners. So that way, it ends up being, it gets the best reaction from the game audience because the success of a game like Mortal Kombat is dependent on it.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Like, that people watch messed up stuff to do that.
I didn't either until I read that. And then I was like, oh, that's right.
I
That's
figured people just made it up and thought it up.
No.
It's like how what famous actor knows how it sounds when a man is stabbed in the back?
Oh well, that was
Christopher
Lee.
Yeah, I'm like I know
not
it's
in the back, like in the heart.
I don't know, when he's stabbed to death in general though, the sounds that a man makes.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't need to pretend I know what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Well, it was explicitly that it doesn't make much of a sound, was what he was saying.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, you gotta to have these believable deaths in these believable games. Fantasy for the win.
I don't know that
everything can
I would
just
say they're
disappear into a
believable.
cloud of smoke, or
Well, yeah, it's not believable, but it's just so over the top.
Yeah.
But the point is it's to make it excessively gory, which not my personal taste. And I'm not entirely sure that I think Mortal Kombat could actually take a few steps back from that and still be viable. I don't know if it needs to be so over the top.
The game. It's not even the fatalities for me.
Yeah.
Does it? Like I see it once, I'm like, okay, I saw it.
Yeah.
I just like
that's the other
rest
thing
of the
is
overall silliness of it.
Yeah, that's the other thing that a lot of people is like, because they often take so long, is that like people see it once and then they skip through it the rest of the time.
Yeah.
And it's like at what cost for that?
Not unless like you're really trying to flex on somebody when you're playing them. That's the only time I would not skip it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. And then from Nintendo, they did an Indie World Showcase. They don't call them Nindies anymore, and that makes me mad because like that was such a great brand name for their showcase. But we got a lot. I'm just gonna go through the pretty full list of stuff, and then we can talk about stuff that caught our interest. But Risk of Rain 2, Super Hot, Roti, Skater XL, Eastward, Europa, Tourist, Torchlight 2, Skellboy, Earth Knight, Hotline Miami Collection, Blasphemous, Cat Quest 2, Spiritfarer, Best Friends Forever, Fogs, exclamation point, Northgard, Sparklight, Munchkin, Quacked Quest, and as a final announcement in that, Ori and the Blind Forest is coming to Switch.
I was
So.
like, wait, isn't that already? I know I've seen a case for that. What is that? No,
Xbox.
it's not out on Switch. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I've seen this movie, this game. I know it exists. Where does it exist already?
Yeah.
PC.
Yeah.
Xbox and PC.
Xbox is. I kept seeing the Xbox case.
Yep. So.
I'm actually excited for Ori.
Yeah.
Because it looks adorable.
Just prepare your heart.
Yeah, I understand. I understand that
it's also
hurts.
a really good Metroidvania type game. Kind of a thing. Other ones that I noted, Earth Knight, basically is like Sonic the Hedgehog, but the levels are all running around and jumping around on the backs of flying sky dragons.
Oh yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, but it has complete like skydiving stuff, and I was just like, oh man, that's like Sonic 2 during the Chaos Emerald levels. Torchlight 2, I will probably pick that up and do another playthrough of that because I enjoyed Torchlight. And Torchlight 2 in my first go around. I'm just surprised that because I thought that the initial developer like just went under, or something like that happened.
I thought they were doing some type of MMO type deal.
Also that. Yeah, there's some Torchlight MMO that, I don't know, is maybe stuck in development hell or something.
Yeah.
Eastward looks pretty cool. It's like some kind of
interesting
action RPG with like upgraded Stardew Valley-esque graphics.
It looks like
What is it?
Play. It's not like Stardew. It's gonna be like Secret of Mana or something.
Yes,
is what it looks like gameplay wise.
It's just the art style is reminiscent of Stardew, and because it's also published by Chucklefish, a lot of people are legitimately thinking that it's by Concerned Ape, and it's like no, that it's a whole team based out of Singapore that made this game. So you heard it here. Eastward is not by the same dev quote unquote team as Stardew Valley.
When I saw Eastward, I was like, oh, is this gonna be kind of like Earthbound? Like
I've also heard that as well. Yeah, that it looks like Mother 3.
It looks like an upgraded visually Earthbound style. Yeah. But the gameplay isn't RPG, it's more action.
Yeah.
Which I'm like,
Yeah. What else? Sparklight. I have to look up to see if Sparklight's by the same people that make Moonlighter, because that seemed to have a very similar art style between the two.
I looked at Sparklight, and it was actually on my. I had it reserved for a little while at GameStop. But it looks good. I can't remember who it was by though.
I'm looking it up right now. Moonlighter is by Digital Sun Games. So then, Sparklight. Red Blue Games. So no. So again, just a coincidence of similar art style. So yeah. Northgard.
I played Hotline Miami years ago when it first came out. It's interesting.
It is available on the store right now for $24.99.
Also, weird game.
Yep.
If you're trying to follow the narrative, it's very strange.
It looks a little weird. Yeah.
It is, and it's ultra violent. Game.
Oh yeah.
It's
Miami.
Literally just about murdering everybody. But I mean, it's interesting in that you basically get one hit killed. So like, you really got to plan it's top down, and you got to plan, like when you bust down a door, everybody in that room is gonna shoot at you. So you got to kind of plan ahead of what you're doing, and then like noises alert other people nearby, and it's interesting. You got to think through it. So
Yeah.
you got to be quick with your reflexes as well when you're playing.
Yeah.
It's not a game for everybody though, for sure. Super Hot is interesting. I never played it, but it looks like an interesting game. So it's like this first-person shooter, but the game only moves when you move. So when you stop, time stops.
Yep.
And you can like throw items to knock bullets out of the air, or knock guns out of people's hands and catch it while it's in the air and then use it. It's actually pretty interesting. I thought about playing it. I just never gotten around to it. But
I think the one
super
game
popular like a year and a half ago when it first came out, or 2 years ago.
Yeah. I think one of the games that kind of caught my attention the most on this list was Best Friends Forever.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the dog is your best friend forever, or if the dog is helping you find your best friend forever.
It's your wing dog. According to a
Oh,
CNN
so
article.
Is it a dating sim which features a dog?
I was gonna say, yeah. So according to CNN, the Star Cult Studio told them that it is definitely influenced by modern dating simulators, but the difference is that dogs play a major role. Your dog influences your love story, as they'll come with you wherever you go. Not picking up their poop, for example, will result in a rather unimpressed date, whereas a well-behaved pup is a great wing dog. I think this is adorable and hilarious, and I cannot wait to watch YouTube gameplay. I will not get it.
Risk
I'm
of Rain
kind of
2,
interested
also
for
a great game.
What's that? Oh, Risk of Rain 2, yeah.
Risk of Rain 2. I played a lot of that on Steam a couple months back.
Nice.
Really, really fun game.
Yeah.
Northgard seems pretty interesting. It's like it has kind of like RTS elements. And it's all Vikings. And it's a lot of like unit and city management kind of stuff. So yeah.
Oh man, a lot of these on this list.
It's kind of like an RTS Civ.
This year.
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah, many of these are coming out within like the next month or two.
Yeah.
I think Super Hot is already out.
Yep. And
yeah,
so
it was
is
released.
Hotline Miami.
Yeah. Well, is that the collection?
Yeah.
Because the individual games are also out already. This is a collection. Okay.
No, the collection is on the eShop. I just looked at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, Cat Quest 2 just deserves a mention because Cat Quest 1's awesome. It's a very light game, but it has charm and flavor in spades.
It has adorable cats, is what it has.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Everything is cat themed. So.
I have it. I just haven't gotten a chance to like focus and play some.
Yeah.
Because other games have taken up other stuff, which is good. Other games.
Yeah,
are good.
we'll get into that later.
Other games are good.
So, is there any other gaming news?
Final Fantasy VIII, September 3rd. Remaster.
Right, I did see that.
There's a lot of Cyberpunk. I mean, again, at every show there's a ton of Cyberpunk info, but
yeah,
as we get closer to next spring when it comes out, it's just gonna get more and more.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of. I mean, like I said, I only put down. Oh, one what I saw today that was interesting. What the heck's that Muppet show?
Muppet
Crystal.
Show?
Dark Crystal.
Oh yeah.
Have we got more info on that strategy game?
Exactly. There's a tactics game.
Yeah.
Which is going to be very much like tactics in like Fire Emblem style of a Dark Crystal game. I have no connection to Dark Crystal. I just thought that was interesting.
They're also doing a Netflix pre-series.
Well, yeah, it's a tie-in to that, Courtney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yay, all of that will come.
I don't like that whole puppet style. It's just not for me. Yeah, don't like it.
Well, you don't like puppets?
I just don't like the way it looks. Sorry.
Ah!
Sorry.
So
It's not 1986 anymore, guys. We can do better with CGI.
practical effects better than CGI.
Disagree.
Practical effects are
Sometimes, not all the time. No.
It literally depends what they're doing, because
Yeah.
sometimes practical effects. You know, Star Wars could have
I
used
think
practical effects instead of
did.
CGI for a face.
They did.
Not for
Although prequels, I mean, again, you're talking about
No.
the 90s. Again,
She's
No,
talking.
no.
She's talking about Carrie Fisher.
Oh, looked
No,
fine.
I'm not.
I don't know.
I'm talking about what's his name in
Tarkin?
Rogue One.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was fine.
It
That
was
was
fine.
His face was shadowed most of the time. It was fine.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're like really looking for it. Like,
Yeah.
that's what, obviously you're really going to notice it, but it was fine.
I think it was fine.
I also prefer CGI Yoda, Puppet Yoda.
I don't know. I think it depends.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Again, if they did it now, it would look way better than it did in 1999 or whenever Attack of the Clones or whatever came out. But again, I just don't. I personally don't like the puppet style.
I can't remember if. I think Yoda might have been the puppet in Episode 8.
Yeah. I think they went back to puppet for it. It looked like it anyway.
So
enough people cried.
Yeah,
about
it definitely looked much more. It was definitely interactive.
Yeah. So yeah. All right. Now it's time for some D&D talk.
Yes.
So, let's start off with Eberron. Hardcover book coming out in November. So that means that we're gonna get Descent into Avernus comes out next month.
Oh, dang!
That's coming.
That's right.
And then the Eberron book in November. And what this is gonna be is it's gonna like encompass the Wayfinder's Guide to Eberron, but also have more stuff. And I guess it's gonna have like some campaign information and adventures and other background stuff. So it's gonna be like a weird combo of something like a Ghosts of Saltmarsh, plus like a Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide, plus everything that was in the Wayfinder's Guide to Eberron. It's going to have your Eberron-specific races, so Warforged, Kalashtar, Shifters, and Changelings. It's going to have a different version of Orcs than Volo's Guide, which... the orcs in that book for player races are generally considered like awful. Just even mechanically wise, there is no reason to play a full-fledged orc as opposed to just playing a half orc and calling it an orc. Like it's that bad. So, as well as like other goblinoid information, it's going to have information on dragon marks. It will have the artificer class. Will be published in that book.
Yes.
So final form has been achieved.
12 new dragon mark tattoos.
Well, no, it's just the 12 dragon mark tattoos.
Well, yeah.
We have them in the Wayfinder's Guide, but the question that this brings up is, what does this mean for the Wayfinder's Guide? Because it was initially pitched as, if they decide to do a print version of that book or whatever, is they would look to find some way to compensate people that bought that document on DM's Guild. Or if they were to do a hardcover book, it would be like a supplement with the two of them kind of a thing. And now they seem to gone away from that. And now there's this whole... I mean, I think it was $20. So it's not like a huge deal. But then it becomes a question of, oh, well, what happens... what happens with that $20 kind of a thing. D&D Beyond has also said there's kind of weird stuff where they've like, yeah, if stuff gets updated, we'll automatically update it. But like whether if, for example, you've already purchased like the Warforged and the Kalashtar and the Changelings and everything, if that's going to reduce the price of this new book like it normally does.
Yeah, because if you have certain parts of it already, it'll already take it off. I
Yep.
don't know.
But people have been noting that the pre-order is for the full price, even if you already own Wayfinder's Guide. So, yeah, it's a bit of a mess. Wizards did note that they had never done anything like that before. So
Yeah.
I'm sure this is just a weird pain point for them, and they will hopefully take it as a learning experience.
I want to know what that little orange creature is on the elf's shoulder on the cover of the book.
It's some kind of flying squirrel. There's
Yeah,
not
I
really
think
any
it's
precedent
adorable.
for it in Eberron
think-
prior.
I don't
So
care. I
it's some
think
kind of new
adorable,
creature.
and I want one.
Yeah.
I want one in
Also,
real life. Like Courtney wants one, not
Yeah.
for her character, but Courtney wants one.
speaking of which, speaking of the cover, the
Yeah.
cover has become a point of contention where it doesn't really seem to show off a lot of what Eberron is about. It's like a very generic cover. And as opposed to the sort of special limited edition cover, which is regarded to be a lot better. Which, I would hope that would be the case for limited edition covers to be better than the standard one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if anything, I feel kind of bad for the artist because like it's a lot of negative feedback about the standard cover.
The art's fine.
I mean, the art is
Yeah.
pretty, but it just doesn't usually go with the normal aesthetic. And I think that's
Well, the aesthetic is fine. It matches all the other D&D books, but like Sean said, it just doesn't show off Eberron.
And that's the thing, like, and here's the other part is I feel like, because I've seen the spread, which I presume the left part of the spread is for the back cover, has like airships and buildings and stuff like that. So it seems like a lot of the campaign specific information is on the back cover, which is like, oh, if they really wanted to do it, like they would have swapped the elf and the Warforged, and had the Warforged be front and center, or have an airship be front and center, or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or-
they're probably characters that are central to some type of story.
I get the feeling,
I guess.
that it's probably some kind of like Dragonmark Guild leader, perhaps. Yeah, it's just the fact that a lot of those figures weren't really at the forefront. But
I
yeah,
mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to drop a adventure in Eberron.
oh yeah. But
Because they've pretty much done this with almost all of their books. A lot of the cover art and stuff in the books hints at upcoming adventures.
Yeah.
Like the front of the Dungeon Master's guide has Asarak on it. So Asarak, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like that was a very early hint at something they were already working on.
Yes.
Years before it came out. So
yeah,
my guess. But yeah, I mean, whatever. Art's fine. It matches all the other books. I would just get the normal book just because it matches. Like the spine will match all my other books. Like I'm very particular about that thing. That's why I don't buy the special editions.
Yeah. I think I'm definitely gonna pick up the limited edition cover for this one, which has a very I think I described it as fantasy Blade Runner, which is just like that's a perfect way to describe Eberron. Is it's supposed to be like somewhere between pulp and noir, so kind of like arcano-punk. It's a setting where initially back in 3rd edition when it first came out was normally clerics had to match their deity's alignment, whereas in Eberron you could be up to one step away. So you could have a lawful evil cleric of a lawful good deity, or you could have a chaotic good cleric of a lawful good deity.
How's that one step away?
Or no, maybe it would have been a lawful neutral.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, you.
It was something. It was something weird like that, or whatever. A true neutral deity had a very wide range of followers that they could have.
As far as I'm concerned, all lawful good is lawful evil.
Of course you would.
Really?
That's because
Yeah.
Josh's character simply subscribes to being chaotic good, or chaotic neutral.
No, chaotic. Just chaotic.
Neutral good.
I feel like a little bit more of the chaotic bent, but
Maybe
Yeah.
occasionally. I don't think I'm as impulsive or as crazy as
You don't
even some of
think
the other
you're that
people
impulsive?
in our party.
You don't think you're that impulsive?
No.
When you don't get your way, you don't think you're impulsive?
Nope.
I wouldn't say impulsive so much as stubborn.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking has no problem disregarding authority to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's neutral. I think that's neutral.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You do the right thing regardless of how you do it is neutral. Neutral good.
Mm-mm.
That's how I see it.
Nah. But anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, my hope is that if, like, let's put it this way, I don't know what they're gonna do about the Wayfinder's Guide situation, but at the very least, what they could do is ensure that there's enough material in that book to, and different material to still justify having paid, the $20,
Yeah.
for the initial document. I mean, I know, for me, having an actual published artificer in there, maybe some more artificer specific spells, maybe a bunch of magic items that don't appear, like different magic items in the Wayfinder's Guide, and then just a lot of general, very specific, campaign info that wasn't covered in the Wayfinder's Guide would make it worth it. And then maybe like a short campaign arc or something. I could see that being how they would want to do things. Also, stats for airships, please. So that the only book we're not relying on for stats from airships is the Ack Inc. book.
Yeah.
That's a very specific kind of airship, and I'm not sure most parties would want an airship like that. Where it's the battle balloon.
What
So.
is? Yeah, I gotta wonder what if Mark Humes is using something in High Rollers for airships, but for Aroas.
Probably custom stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably just making it up.
Based on rules that were put out in Ghosts of Saltmarsh. Although I think he also said that he was using part of the stuff from the Ack Inc. book as well. If I recall. Since I'm basically listening to those episodes right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's out in November. I'm excited. I am going to try and put my pre-order in soon, so that I can make sure that Purple Dragon has that book available.
Cool.
I want that. I want the Devil one. It's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
When does that come out?
September something.
Man, September, so much.
Yep.
September.
So many things. And the problem is,
Everything.
I can't buy them because I put them on the wedding registry. I have to send it September 17th. Yeah.
There's Final Fantasy 8. Although, I think, since I already own Final Fantasy 8 on Steam, it's just going to apply new stuff to that, which would be nice. But Borderlands 3 and, like, the mech game for Switch.
Yeah, Daemon Ex Machina, Astral Chain,
Link's
Awakening.
Is August 30th. Might as well, whatever. Like,
yeah.
I mean, just throwing it out there, Spyro the Reignited Trilogy is also coming out to Switch in September. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
I'm excited. I'm so excited.
So
I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. I knew it would eventually port over. So I just have been playing the long game.
maybe I should just stay unemployed so I can keep playing games. So I have the time I need.
Let's not do that.
Maybe you should
stay
become a pro game player.
Because if you stay unemployed for long enough, you can't afford more games.
I'm doing pretty good on unemployment right now.
Yeah, but you can only collect for unemployment for so long.
6.5 months I calculated how much they would give me. I'm just messing around.
You're just joshing.
I'm just joshing.
Just joshing around. So yeah. And then this past week, we got an unearthed there. I can't even talk. Unearthed Arcana.
Sorry,
There
I
we
couldn't
go.
Unearthed
say
is such a
difficult Miami.
difficult word for me to say for some reason. We got a new path for the barbarian and a new tradition for the monk. So we got. Let's talk about the barbarian first. Path of the Primal Soul, I think is what it's called. I can never remember the names of these things. But it's basically a fey touched wild magic barbarian.
I actually thought this was actually pretty interesting too.
Yeah,
Because I've always been interested in the barbarian that was more in touch with like the natural magic side of things and like how you would do that, and this kind of does that for you, which is nice.
I feel like this is like a barbarian mixed with a druid.
Or a ranger, that's
Yeah.
that type of thing, a little bit.
I think this is a very physical wilder, which was a psionics class. That was based around unfettered emotion. So like it had a lot of like unleash emotion and deal damage to people kind of a thing. So this is when you rage, you roll basically a smaller wild magic table and apply some bizarre effect.
Which I think is awesome.
Yep. There's also things like
as a game mechanic, I think that wild magic is just hilarious because so much can go wrong, but so much can also like it's one of those just wonderfully chaotic things.
Too RNG for me.
See, I just love it because of the chaos.
Because it can go too extremely wrong and really muck things up.
Yeah. My character wouldn't know anything about wild magic going wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
right, so
not backstories. I'm just saying, actually in the game.
No.
You're
like,
in the middle of a mechanic and or in the middle of a fight, and sorcerer fireballs everybody by accident. You all died. That's kind of sucky. That's not fun. It's just sucky.
I think it's like giving the rogue a rod of wonder and saying, "We'll see what happens."
Well, a good DM doesn't do that.
Yeah. So one thing to note is the Wild Surge, which is their feature, are all beneficial effects. There are no there are no like, oh, you fireball yourself or you turn into a plant or something. Yeah, they're all good abilities. It's just you don't get to choose which one.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's RNG enough for me.
I mean, like, teleport 20 feet as a bonus action until your rage ends. Or
and it's teleport,
everywhere
so
within,
you don't invoke
everywhere within 10 feet of you is difficult terrain, kind of a thing. So yeah, you also get the ability to cast Detect Magic a certain number of times per day based on your constitution. And you can basically like consume the magic within you to restore spell slots to a spellcaster.
Yeah, I saw that. I was reading that. I was like, oh, that seems pretty good.
Yeah. And you take force damage based on the spell slot that you give out, which is it's a random level. But yeah. What else? And then later at that 14th level, it's just you roll twice on the Wild Surge table. And as a bonus action, you can re-roll it. That's what it is. So like if you don't like the effect, you can just spend a bonus action and re-roll and get a new effect.
Interesting.
So,
I like it. I mean,
yeah.
Like I said, I'm interested in like a more of a shamanistic type of barbarian. Yeah. There's another one. What was like your ancestor ghost?
Yeah, it's
there's that one that was kind of interesting.
Let's see.
We don't have to look it up, but there's one like based on like the ghosts of your ancestors or something.
I believe it's Path of the Ancestral Guardian.
There you go. So again, that one kind of gave me the vibe of a shamanistic type of barbarian, which I always thought there needs to be options like that, because again, when I think of barbarian, this is maybe my personal thing, but I think it's a bit tropey. That a barbarian probably comes from some type of mountain tribe or forest tribe or some type of like tribal group, and there would probably be some type of shamanistic stuff, and they're probably pretty closely intertwined, or probably a major part of that culture or society. So I've
Yeah.
always wanted to see more of that type of stuff with barbarians.
Yeah. So, and the other one, the monks' way of the astral self tradition. Wizards firmly establishing that they really just want the monk class to be where they put all of your anime tropes.
Yeah. Yes.
Because
And
this
I'm,
one,
100%
very,
on.
very
this
clearly,
one, yeah.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure,
Yeah.
specifically Stardust Crusaders arc. So yeah, what at 3rd level, the ability that you get is you have an astral self, which is just like yourself in astral form, but it takes whatever it looks however you want. So like it can even just be vaguely humanoid, maybe not, just as long as you can have the requisite body parts, kind of a thing. Because that part's just cosmetic. But on your turn, you can spend 2 key points as a bonus action to summon the arms of your astral self, which then punch things. Also, it turns the monk into kind of just needing wisdom and maybe a bit of dexterity.
I would fill
Wow.
a ton of decks for your armor.
Maybe.
What is their own armor defense based on?
Dex and wisdom.
There you go. So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
put everything dex wisdom.
Yeah.
So, but like, if you focus entirely on wisdom right off the bat, then you use your wisdom for your armor class, your attacks,
Right. Yeah.
your damage, your strength saves, and your strength checks.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Normally, you're going to have 2 stats that you can probably get to 20 or close enough to.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that would be your 2.
Yeah, it means that you don't need to worry about strength at all. And, maybe constitution, maybe not. But, so yeah, while your astral arms are summoned, you just use your wisdom mod to basically resist strength-based effects. So your spirit arms just like catch you and prevent you from moving around anywhere. They have a reach of 10 feet. They deal radiant or necrotic damage. And then you can use your wisdom for attacks and damage with them. And you can make an extra attack with your arms as a bonus action. The number of attacks increases to 2 at 11th level and 3 at 17th level. Which is absurd. It means that like so basically you don't have to keep spending for Flurry of Blows.
Oh.
Like when you get to later
That's
levels.
nice.
And it means you would basically get, like, if you use your bonus action for that, you get 5 attacks at 17th level. Because monks also get extra attack.
Yep. I would expect your party to encounter an NPC with these abilities soonish.
I would be
Well,
very
you know
disappointed
what?
if we didn't.
Well, you know what? The cool thing is, though, is all of our listeners and watchers can also get to experience this class.
Yeah, we'll get to
on
that.
Friday.
We'll get to that.
Aha.
We're not yet talking about what's going on in 8-Bit Adventures yet.
Oh, come on.
No, we got to get through this first. So then at 6th level, you summon the face of your astral self. And it gives you advantage on insight and intimidation checks. And you basically gain magical dark vision out to 120 feet. So it also pierces magical darkness. Then at 11th level, it's when you take basically most elemental damage. You can deflect it like you were going to deflect missiles. Your arms deal extra damage equal to your martial arts die. So basically, once on each of your turns. So like, if they deal a d8 of damage once per turn, you just deal an extra d8 of that damage. And then you can basically cast Message or Thaumaturgy.
Nice.
to do the booming effect.
Mm-hmm.
And then 17th level, your stand basically covers you, and you get a +2 bonus to armor class. Oh, so whenever you use the extra attack feature to attack twice, you instead attack 3 times. So correction, you would get 6 attacks at 17th level.
Oh, no.
Wow.
And then when a creature within 10 feet of you reduces 0 hit points, you can use a reaction to regain ki equal to your wisdom modifier.
Oh.
Which I think the monk's capstone is also when you start a combat with no ki, you get 4 ki.
Ow.
Monk's capstone is like you don't die. It's what is it? It's or is that Mystic? That's Mystic. It's I forget what it's called.
Do you mean like you don't age?
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
That's just a ribbon ability for the monks. That's not their capstone.
Is it? Yeah. Like
however,
self-actualization or something is their capstone ability. I don't know.
So
They reached
With
Maslow's. Yeah, they reached the top of
hierarchy.
Maslow's pyramid.
I think it's just called perfect self.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
But I always called it self-actualization because I thought
Yeah, it's absolutely the top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
they've studied Maslow and they got to where they need to be.
Yes.
So to be clear, that does cost 10 ki to use. So you have to basically spend half your ki points at that point in order to activate it. But it's really good.
Yeah.
And then you basically just go around mowing people down and regaining all that ki.
I'm fairly confident this is one of the next characters. I've been wanting to play a monk for a long time, and now I just...
Yeah.
You make it JoJo's, and
I'm kind of thinking that maybe for this sci-fi thing now, that I'm just going to totally switch gears, and that we can just basically just make Stardust Crusaders. And that everybody's just one of these monks. In a sci-fi game. I think that would work. And then we fight a space vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zawaldo!
More
Who is
vampires.
a space vampire who is also one of these monks. Or just cast Time Stop.
I've been watching a lot of JoJo's stuff recently on YouTube.
Yep.
And it's so, again, it's weird and it's silly and over the top, so I obviously appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But this monk is basically that, which
Oh
is
yeah,
great.
100%. Yeah. So you couple that with Sun Soul Monk, and now you've got Goku and Jotaro.
Yeah.
So
basically.
There you go. And then I guess you could argue like Kensei would be, I don't know, like half the characters from Bleach or One Piece.
Oh, Bleach and One Piece are so different.
Just by virtue of the fact that it's weapon monks.
One Piece isn't really about weapons.
I'm just thinking of what's his name that like basically wields like 8 swords.
Zoro.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zoro. Yeah. I mean, there's some sword guys, but One Piece is about like weird.
Well, that
power.
weird supernatural abilities, but from
because Luffy is a rubber man, basically.
yes, yeah, who sinks though.
And because quick lesson on One Piece: you have to eat a special fruit to get these weird powers, and anybody who eats these fruits cannot swim; they just sink to the bottom. So no matter.
Oh, okay.
anybody
So
with
it's
these weird
so it's the
powers-
same drawback. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Everybody
I didn't
who
know
eats
that
it-
part.
They're called devil fruits, so everybody who eats a devil fruit cannot swim.
Okay.
Yeah.
One Piece is great, actually. People should watch it. It's again,
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
it's something that's weird and a little bit different from a lot of other anime.
Yep.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Great character design and great world. It's very interesting.
It's kind of Fantastic Four, but they're all pirates.
Yeah, maybe.
Kind of,
Yeah, it's so
kind of.
hard
Just-
to describe.
Just the fact that it's like a weird superhero ensemble cast, but they're all pirates instead of being
Yeah,
scientists. And
One Piece is
actual
kind of hard
heroes.
to describe. You can
Yeah.
say it's like a pirate anime, but that's like the most surface level of it, and it's
Yeah.
hardly that. It's not
Yeah.
even pirates and how you would think of pirates.
So, all right. So that does finally wrap up the news for this week. I know we ran a bit long with the news, but there was a lot of stuff to cover with the indies and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's quickly talk about what's going on in 8-Bit Adventures. All right. So, Berkshire Bites was out this week with Zucchinis. Megan and I decided to talk about our myriad of trips to Zucchini's, local Italian eatery place, Italian American
Zucchini's good.
restaurant. It is good.
Yeah.
It's a great place to have like a banquet or something too.
Yeah, their catered stuff is always
Their
good.
catering stuff is
Yep.
amazing.
I've done lots of like company parties and stuff there. That's always great.
Oh
catering.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yep. That downstairs room is hopping.
Yes. Yeah. As far as streams go, 8-Bit Adventures Game Night, Fire Emblem. This week, Fire Emblem. Probably next week, Fire Emblem. Probably. Some fan art this week for the comic. There was no actual comic this week, but some Dorothea of the Golden Deer.
Bit of a gripe with the title of that, because Dorothea is a Black Eagle.
Yes,
she is.
But not in my playthrough.
Not in any of the playthroughs that Sean will ever do.
So if you look at the alt
stay
text,
in
or if you look at the
whatever
description on Patreon, if you're viewing it there, it does explain that. That's why it's a Golden Deer background and entitled that way. Also decided, because I really wanted her to keep her Jotaro hat, kind of mashing up her pre and post time skip outfits.
She is the #1 most deployed unit in the game.
100%. That is the power of the Jotaro hat. Also, the fact that all the other characters are willing to date her, pretty much, is 100% that hat.
Just because I don't play with any of the online stuff on, but I've watched other people on Twitch, and I like the loading screen for fights. It's like, oh, here's online statistics. Most played. It's basically all Black Eagles except for a couple.
Yeah.
Of them. But
and I think the reason why Dorothea and Bernadette are just up there is because people are either playing Black Eagles or they're recruiting those two characters.
I think Black Eagles is the most played house. I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
I mean, it's the waifu house, so it makes sense.
Pretty much. That's why. So.
And they also have the best story.
So. But as Courtney said, we are going to. So the TV station's not available this week, so we will not be doing our regularly scheduled Tales of Jemmora game. Instead, we will be doing a special online one-shot featuring Courtney, featuring Sean Robbins, who normally plays Twixen, and our friend Heather, who will be making her debut on D&D streams. And they will be playing some new characters as part of the organization Leafdancer, which is an adventuring and privateering company set in the town of Dusky Shores. So this is going to be based on Ghosts of Saltmarsh. So basically, we're going to be playing something based on that. So yeah, I'm very excited for these characters. Heather is playing an Astral Self Monk, so we'll get to see that in action and how that works. There may be ghosts, so we may see an Astral Self Monk punch ghosts. I don't know.
Yes.
So, because that's always fun, punching ghosts.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. I know Heather's been looking forward to it. We've been talking a lot, so I've been telling her to talk to you about some stuff, but
so
yeah.
Have a
Heather,
whole
watch JoJo stuff on YouTube.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically the way to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will say, as absurd as our normal as the Kraken's Wake gets, that there's still like dark elements to it, kind of thing, as is evidenced by the past couple of adventures. This one will probably be a bit more lighthearted than that. Maybe not a whole lot of death babies raising armies of undead for, stuff like that.
That would be nice to not run into.
Yeah.
I
mean, also, these characters are going to be level 3, so the threats are on a much smaller level. I was gonna have them start at level 1, but figured, we'll make it a little more interesting and give them a little more abilities at level 3. So,
one's a little boring, and also, in my opinion,
deadly.
The most dangerous. Yeah, the most deadly level.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
A single
Yes,
weapon
a
hit.
kitten. A
will do it.
kitten could take out a wizard.
Pretty much
eh,
just about any class you get one shot at level 1.
yeah,
Yeah.
Or close enough.
not by a kitten. That was in previous editions, Courtney. Wizards now get a D6 of hit points plus Constitution modifier, and cats only deal 1 damage now. Yeah.
Okay.
Before it was they dealt like 1d4 damage. So that's why, yeah, it was a cat was equivalent to just a knife.
Yeah.
So yeah, be sure to catch that 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time right here on twitch.tv/8bitadventures. Got a cool whole custom overlay for it with a map.
I'm excited to see that.
That map, by the way, is available to patrons at the $5 and up level in the high res format.
Nice.
So, yeah. And that about pretty much wraps it up in what's going on with 8-Bit Adventures. So, why don't we move along to quest log?
Yeah.
All right. So, Josh, would you like to talk about Octopath Traveler before we just talk about Fire Emblem again?
Sure.
Yeah.
So real quick, I beat my second playthrough of Fire Emblem the other day,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and I was like, I really want to just keep playing Fire Emblem because it's almost a perfect game for me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't. That first half, it's gonna be hard for me to do again. So I was like, I want to play another RPG. I was like, well, and I've also been wanting to play an MMO, and there's no MMOs that I really like right now. Like, I almost bought Elder Scrolls Online, but then I didn't pull the trigger at last second. I'm like, no, I'm not spending money on something I might not like in a week. So I'm like, I'm gonna get Octopath because I've wanted to play it for a while, and I've got the Switch, so
Mm-hmm.
might
Yep.
as well.
Yep.
And it's okay. I'm actually a little underwhelmed by it so far, to be honest. It's good.
Who did you choose to start with?
I don't think it matters much. Ulbrich.
I mean, the difference in the story,
The
whatever.
story, I think the story is going to exactly the same no matter who you start with, because how it
No,
works.
each person's
Right.
story.
So I've got everybody. I'm
Oh,
playing
okay.
through everybody's thing because
Oh, okay.
I'm very meticulous in that I
Yeah, that's the thing is,
like.
yeah, each.
So every time you go recruit a new person, you see their intro and you play
Yep.
Yeah,
through their
I know.
thing,
I
and then they
know.
join
I've
the party,
yep.
right? So gameplay wise, it's turn based. I do like how they made the turn based more interesting in that enemies have different weaknesses to different weapons and elements and whatnot. So
Mhm.
it's not just hitting attack like a lot of those a lot of those Final Fantasy games, honestly, in the 90s. It's you kind of think through your moves and like, okay, I got to do this, this, and this to stagger them, and then you save up your points to really unload. And it's interesting. A game kind of did something similar, at least with like the saving up point. It's called Bravely Default. It was on the
Yep.
3DS.
Yep.
Very similar thing with like saving up your turns to unload, and then like you don't regenerate points next turn, that type of thing. So I really like that, and I just I just went around getting all the secondary job shrines so I can have
Yes.
secondary jobs on.
Yep.
Basically, I just use my main 4 now that I've recruited everybody. But so like now it's like, okay, now I've got every single thing covered in my party, so I don't have to worry about switching people in and out. I've got my main crew, and they've got every weapon and element covered. So like that's cool now.
Nice.
There you go.
Story wise, the individual stories, they're hit or miss for me. Some of them are kind of interesting. Some of them I'm just like meh.
Yeah.
The thing that's missing for me so far, and maybe it'll change, but I actually don't expect it to, is an overarching narrative that connects everybody together.
So
Don't spoil anything for me. I know at the very end I think I heard it gets like that once you complete everybody's stuff.
yes.
But right now, after chapter 1, like doing
Yeah.
everybody's intro and recruiting everybody
Yeah.
initially, because I did that first before I'm like, I'm not doing anybody's chapter 2 until I get everybody.
Yeah.
That so far it's like, oh, I go to your town, I see your thing, and for whatever reason, like, oh, I'm gonna travel the world now. You're here, I'll join your party. There's not really
Yep.
much of a reason for it. There's no like glue that really a reason for everybody to be together. So far, I'm hoping that changes and that people have more interaction with each other, especially coming from Fire Emblem. where everything is about social interaction with each other.
Yeah.
There's like, maybe that's just a shock from that game, and maybe it might just be Fire Emblem that's kind of ruined me in that, where like maybe no game will have
You've just
the
been
amount
in
of
that. You've
So,
been in that mode
I will tell you,
for a few weeks.
yeah.
So as far as like the plot goes,
Mm,
that yeah, it's not until the very end of the game in which everything's
That's-
kind of tied together.
that's what I figured.
But I mean, it's more of like a little optional thing. Is when you go to like certain taverns,
Mhm.
there will be options for like certain members of your party to talk to each other.
Okay.
And they have it's basically like a little teeny tiny like support conversation, but like it doesn't.
Yeah.
You don't get anything out of it aside from just they have a little fun jabs.
That's fine. I mean, okay, if it's just like, if it doesn't build anything to their character, it's pointless. But if it builds character and like, that's fine with me. That's because that's what I'm looking for. I want more character development in them, and particularly character development between party members. Like, I want to feel like they have some reason to be together. Because right now it doesn't. I don't feel that at all. It's like we're just all on our separate journeys, and we just happen to be in a
Yeah,
group
it's
together.
more they provide like a little bit of insight into the character, like, but they don't really. I don't recall them like revealing any important details or anything. Just so much as like it gives you just a more rounded view of each character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all like the mechanic of being able to do different things to NPCs depending on who's in your party.
Yep.
Interesting. I just run around stealing everything with Therian most of the time, and scrutinizing people.
Yep.
Cyrus.
Well, and what I like is that there's
Those are like the two I use on every single person: scrutinize and steal.
Yeah, there's
on every single person.
I forget how they describe it. It's one's described as like good, and the other one's basically described as not evil, but just like nefarious. Yeah. And so it's like scrutinize, steal.
The merchant girl
seduce.
has the merchant girl has like buy. So
Yep.
you can buy instead of steal.
Yep.
And then I think the apothecary has to like get information.
Inquire.
Yes, he can inquire.
And the difference is you have to be a certain level in order to do it.
Yeah.
Or otherwise it just doesn't work at all. Whereas like
I don't care. He's not my main crew. My main crew is Obrick, Cyrus.
Okay.
Honnet.
Okay.
And Therian.
Yeah.
That's my crew.
Yeah.
So I've got Obrick as he's a warrior, and his secondary is apothecary.
Okay. That's a very tanky kind of build right there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did a little bit of research online because I'm like, I wanted to kind of know what makes sense to go with what, and they're like, oh yeah, that would be like that. This works good with him.
Yeah.
Cyrus is black mage, white mage.
That makes sense.
Scholar cleric. I'm like there. He's magic man. Hana is hunter warrior. I just want her to do lots of damage. And right now, Therian is thief dancer. I don't know if I'll keep dancer as a secondary, but I just give him dancer because I gave him a boost to speed. So I wanted his evasion and stuff to be higher.
I know thief merchant is to get those passives is a good combo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'll probably do a lot of mixing and matching because those support skills you get are global.
Yep.
So I imagine I'll have lots of points to spend eventually that I can just switch in and get what I want out of different things for the global skill points and come up with interesting combos and stuff. So like that part of it's interesting to me. Like I'm always interested in job and class systems and stuff like that. Just story wise, the game's letting me down a bit, but that's fine because I think it's making up for the interesting way they do turn-based combat. And I think I'm hoping as I get into the chapters, the individual character stories will become more interesting and more engaging for me.
Yes.
Because again, the first chapters are very simple.
It's very much introductory, very much.
Yeah, it's like here's the character, here's their very for a lot of them, basic reason why they're doing what they're doing. And okay, so I'm hoping that as it builds, it gets more interesting and higher stakes. Yeah, it's fine. It's a fine game. I may be biased because Fire Emblem is just a 10 out of 10.
I
in
think
my
it's
book,
tough to come
and
straight from
it's
Fire
hard.
Emblem into that. Yeah.
And I kind of knew that when I was looking for games to play after this, because I just couldn't this isn't Fire Emblem
Yep.
is just so good. I want a game
Yep.
like Fire Emblem. I want Fire Emblem. I want this Fire Emblem game, just more of it and like new content.
Yep.
But it's fine. I'm gonna keep playing it. I anticipate I will probably beat it. It's not like, I'll keep playing it because I've got the time. So
I will say, the final boss of the game is super difficult.
yeah.
And I will let you know, you will want to level up your
The rest
backup
of your
party as
party.
well.
Oh, is it one of those deals where like they split into 2 groups or something?
Yep.
Okay, like Final Fantasy VII. And...
Yep.
Okay. Well, I also anticipated I'm gonna have, because if I want to do everybody's story, I'm gonna want to get them up in somewhat in levels. And I mean,
Yeah.
I've been doing a bit of grinding on the way, so like
Yeah.
my main crew's all level 30 or close enough to it, and I've not started any of the chapter 2 stuff
Okay.
yet. And like all the
Okay.
chapter 2 stuff says like level recommended 22 to 27 was the highest one I saw.
Yeah.
So I'm above level for everything right now, because I went around gathering like really powerful weapons and gear that I could get early on, just to make my group really strong, and grinding a lot of dungeons that I found along the way to get stuff. So
yeah,
it's
grinding
good.
in the forests, grinding in the wherever you can.
Well, I just go again. I'm look online and like, where's a good grinding spot, and there's lots of dungeons where it's like, okay, my group's level 25, so I'll usually go to the dungeon that's like one step below that, that's got a danger level of like 20.
Yeah,
I'll go in there and just grind in there, and that'll bump me a couple levels, and then I'll move to the next one.
One thing to note that I did not know and found out about is, so if you go to like a dungeon or something that has an end boss, particularly one that has like a beast end boss,
you can come back later and it has a random chance of spawning, and you can catch it with Hanet, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I had read
and
that.
They're really good.
I bet.
Yeah. So
that's another thing. Like, I'm gonna have to, because a lot of my captures on Hanet are kind of crappy, because I got them early in the game. I've just never spent time getting better ones. So it's like, okay, now I gotta focus on that with her. And not that I use those a lot, honestly. I was using them when she, like, if it had a sword weakness, and she didn't have a sword at the time when she wasn't half warrior, so I would use like a sword beast. So maybe controversial, I don't like the art style of the game that much. I'm not a fan of pixel graphics.
Well,
really.
I mean, there you go. Yeah.
That's I mean, yeah.
That being said, if this game came out in 1998, it'd be the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. Like, for this style graphics.
That background artwork is absolutely gorgeous.
As far as pixel graphics go, it looks great. It's not my cup of tea. What I would prefer, I love the character, like the art character design of the characters. Like, I wish the game looked like that. I wish the character sprites looked more like the drawings of them on the cover than the little like 16-bit sprites, because I just really, really love the character design on the cover, and like on the inside it has all the character pictures too.
Yep.
I love just something about that style.
It is a very nice art style.
Want to know why? It reminds me of the art style and character design from Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yep.
And that's a game that I really, really love. But I just really like that art style. I was trying to look who did it. Somebody who hasn't done a lot of work in games, honestly. I think they did some work on Bravely Default, and this was all I saw on their thing.
Interesting.
So graphics, if you're into pixel stuff, it's probably amazing. It looks good for pixel stuff. It's just not my cup of tea, but it's fine.
I was gonna say, conversely, I actually really like the art style in game, and I mean, I like the art style, but it's not as far as like the cover art and everything. But it's not my personal favorite.
Right. I don't know, something about the minimalistic look of it, and it's not a lot of color used in that. It's almost like a traditional Japanese art, with like the paintings with not like very little color used. I don't know what the style is called, but I kind of like the only character on this who has color is Primrose has the red. Everybody else is like browns and grays. But I don't know. I just, for whatever reason, that style clicks with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good game. I'm not bashing it or anything. I'm just being as objective as I can about it. Well, I guess it's
No, that is.
subjective.
I mean, that is a. Those are fair assessments and kind of prevailing thoughts. I think, like the game's good, but like it could have been better if
Like it
a lot of the
could have
stories
been-
intertwined with each other.
If there was some type of overarching narrative that really connected everything together,
Yeah.
it could be so good. I think.
And like I think based on what they do with the end boss, they could have done that.
Right.
Throughout the course of the game.
And I think I've seen some little hints between people's intro stories of some stuff. Like I think I saw the crow tattoo people in a couple people's intro stories.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, it looks like there's something, but it's never really.
Yeah.
It's so lightly
Yeah.
hinted. It's like you got to be kind of paying attention.
Yeah.
And honestly, I wasn't paying that much attention to a lot of intro stories because they just weren't grabbing me for whatever reason.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's a good game.
Mhm.
It's just not. It's not Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
Well, no, because Fire Emblem is beautiful.
It's
And
great. So
one
let's talk
fun
about it.
season.
Amazing.
Again.
It is amazing.
3 weeks in a row. So yeah. So Josh, Josh finished.
I beat my new game plus.
Yep.
With Blue Lions.
Mhm.
And that whole deal is it's Dimitri's story basically.
Mhm.
It's
It is.
Dimitri's revenge story and then redemption story.
We call that
Mhm.
Fire Emblem: Wrath of the Lich King.
Basically.
I am 15
I'll kill
hours.
them all. That's basically all he says.
Yep.
For the middle portion of the game. I'll kill everyone.
I haven't gotten there just yet.
Yep.
But I know I'm
I'll
heading
have
there.
Edelgard's head. That's all he talks about is cutting off Edelgard's head for, I don't know, the whole second third of the game.
Yep.
It's
And
great.
that's why like it's so this spoilers, but like if you're playing Golden Deer, like I'm doing now for the second time, like you meet up with those guys and he's like, I'll have Edelgard's head, I'll kill them all, and you're like,
Dude.
well, be my guest. But he's like, I'll kill you too, and it's like, whoa, 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 whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa,
Whoa,
Guys,
I didn't
guys.
do anything here, dude.
guys.
Oh my god. Like every time you go to talk to Dimitri in the whatever in the social part of the game after the time skip for a while, he's just like, go away. Like he won't even talk to you. He's just like, get away from me.
Listen
What
to
do
Batman.
you want? Basically, and that's how he talks. By the end, he kind of comes around, but he's
Listen here, Batman. All right, let's
And also-
let's put a little block on that edge.
why they man. I don't like how they treated Edelgard in my Blue Lion playthrough at the end.
Well, that's too bad because that's how she
Have
is
you
in
seen it?
67. That's how she is, I presume, in 75% of the playthroughs.
Yeah.
Again, most people are playing Black Eagle, so no.
Well, Black Eagle has 2 playthroughs.
True, but I don't think a lot of people are picking Church.
I don't know.
Wait, Black Eagle has 2 playthroughs?
They
I
have
meant
2
I meant
paths.
in possible playthroughs, 75%
So-
of them.
There's 4 paths in the game, right? There's
Yeah.
Golden Deer, Blue Lion, but Black Eagle at the time skip. There's 2 ways you can go. You can go with
Oh.
Edelgard, or you can side with Rhea in the Church.
That's why I said,
those are
Courtney,
2
it's-
totally different.
It's basically Harry Potter houses where it's you
Mhm.
pick Golden Deer's Hufflepuff, Blue Lions is Gryffindor, Black Eagle not with
Slytherin.
Edelgard is Ravenclaw, and Black Eagle with Edelgard is Slytherin.
I don't know. Hubert is Slytherin, straight up.
Well, that's why he sides with Edelgard.
That's yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I
those are
can't
the
imagine he
4
would side with
paths.
you if you decide to go with the
So
church.
Black Eagle just it has 2 different ways you can go at the time
Yeah.
skip. But I'd actually be curious. That's the only one I haven't really looked into was the church side. I've not watched anybody do the church path.
I don't know.
I've watched a bunch of the Golden Deer because it had all the lore dump that I wanted to know
Yep.
about.
That's why
So-
I consider it the true ending.
Yeah, I'm also curious what is considered the canon ending. I don't know.
Well,
I still confirm that it is like Clue. They are all canon.
they're all true endings.
They are all true endings.
Well, if they make a sequel in this world, then
If they make a sequel in
there
this
has to
world, then we
be-
will get to it when we get to it.
well, I
But-
am a person.
But
who
for
needs to
right
know
now,
things.
it is like Clue, where
Will-
everything is canon.
My question is, will the sauna be open in the sequel? You guys know that there's a sauna at the monastery, right?
Is there?
There is. It's an area
No?
that, and you don't
Where?
do anything with it. But like
Is
characters,
Is it near the
characters will reference
dormitories?
it. I think so.
Can
It's
Because
you
like-
there is a
it's-
little
it's like
area
off
that I
of-
only went up. I went there once because there was a secret item to get the secret shop open. Up
Yeah,
there.
it's near the training area.
Yeah, so it's in between the training area
Yeah.
and the dormitories, right there. Yeah, I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
It's rumored that it'll play a part in like some of the DLC or whatever.
Oh God, you take people to the sauna to have social
I-
conversation instead of tea
I
time.
don't know.
You
I
go
don't
to the
know.
bathhouse together.
I have no idea.
Wait, you sit and you have a schwitz.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
it'll be Critical Role season 2 episode whatever.
Fan service, maybe if they do some type of fan
Yes,
service deal.
yes.
'Cause
When
I
they
think
went
they-
to the bathhouse.
I think they have talked about
and Yasha and Bo totally have a stare off naked. It's beautiful.
they have
love that scene.
the devs have talked about that there's going to be some like beach episode thing or
God.
something.
Oh, some like anime OVA crap.
Probably, I don't know.
Oh God.
I don't know.
That's stuff I could do without. Like this game does as much as I want of like the social anime stuff. It pushes it to a point where I'm like, I like it, but I think if it went any more, it'd just be getting to be too much for me. Because yeah, there's waifus and stuff, but it doesn't ever feel super tropey to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it
Yeah.
never felt like so over the top anime. Like yeah, everybody's got their like character quirk, but it's
Yep.
never. I can't say it's never. It's usually not so overplayed that it's annoying to me.
So
Sometimes it is, but
I
not always.
was browsing Reddit, and I found Bernadetta is actually not very popular on certain sections of the Fire Emblem subreddits.
Oh yeah.
Really?
That
Why
they
is
they
that?
feel that she's totally overplayed and too over the top and everything or whatever. And I just want to be like, have you guys actually met anybody with social anxiety that bad? Because
Well,
Yeah.
I've seen cases where that is
No,
legit
I-
behavior.
Yeah, that's
the
legitimate.
behavior. I would say the behavior is pretty close to spot on. The way she talks about it, people don't talk like that. It's
I mean, I've seen a
unless
couple
they're
cases.
really,
but
I don't know. I have a personal opinion on this, but
it depends on what
considering I have pretty big social anxiety, like, and I am Bernadetta, I sit in my room all day and don't talk to anybody unless I'm like doing this or D&D. Like, it's pretty spot
Yeah.
on. Like the behavior.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't go to people when I talk to them like, "Oh, are you mad at me?" Like, people
Yeah, but
don't
that's-
do that when they're
that's-
talking. They might be feeling that,
Yes. No,
but they're not
people-
verbalizing it.
we'll have a discussion off of stream about that because that kid's actually a huge trauma response, and I think that it plays it perfectly. But yeah,
I would disagree with my pretty big background in dealing with traumatized youth.
and
But
I
I'm not.
we'll
it's-
we'll
yeah,
take this.
again.
Yeah,
We'll
Yeah.
talk about
This-
this off
that's
stream.
that's getting into because I would not have anything to add to that conversation.
Yeah. As
That
I
is
said,
well outside of my area of
Yeah.
expertise. I will say, I never skip any of the conversations where she says, "I'm not secretly eating cake."
Yeah, I know. Exactly. Whenever I did it, I was like, "Oh, I got."
I was like,
listen to her say that line.
It's okay, Bertie. Your secret's safe with me. If you'll give me some cake.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But I
this
think
is actually.
I think it does the tropes to just the right level for me.
I will say this is probably kind of the first time in a while that I've like played or watched something or whatever, and actually like thought about other like little situations and everything or whatever. Not to the extent of like I'm gonna write a fanfic, but like just have it like playing out little conversations in my head kind of thing. And it's been a long time since I've done anything like that with a game or a brand or a property or something. So that's something to be said for that. Of just like,
I
oh,
think this is
and I don't know if I might do like a little, little series of drawings or something, of just like hanging out and like going fishing with some students or whatever, just like little things like that.
Yeah.
That like you could picture happening, but like
Yeah.
obviously because of the scope of the game, they don't.
Yeah, obviously there's like those whole weeks. There's stuff happening in those weeks
Oh, yeah.
besides the teaching, right? So it's
Yeah.
like all types of scenarios. The sheer amount of time I've put in this game, I think I was somewhere about 120 hours between my two
I put
playthroughs. It's
about
a lot.
85 hours in my first playthrough.
I've not put that much time into a single player game in a long time. Maybe I don't know if I've ever put that much time into a single player
so
game.
I'm almost 1/6 of the way through, a little bit over 1/6 of the way, because I've got about 15 solid hours.
But what
which
chapter
for
are you on?
me is
It also
great. I
depends.
think I'm on. We just one chapter ago we finished the war between the classes.
The Battle of the Lion and Eagle.
Yes.
That's still pretty early.
Yeah. I know
Yeah.
I'm still pretty early, but like the game that I'm actually able to.
There's 22 chapters, Courtney.
Yes, I know. So
So.
I'm I
Getting close to the time skip though. I think.
Kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really enjoying it. The fact that I can sit down and like play until my Switch dies, and I'm like then sitting there and charging it is
That was me.
huge. Like that's huge. The fact that I am doing that,
Yeah.
because it switches it up, and this is what I figured it out, Sean. I figured out why I can on it. It switches it up enough of what I'm doing to be able to, because my mind can't focus on one thing for too long.
Yeah.
So I'm able to switch up what I'm doing just enough, just often enough that I'm able to sit for hours upon hours upon hours.
Yeah.
And just play. So, yeah. I'm excited. My Switch is all charged up, ready for work tonight. So
I do like how New Game Plus, with the renown system, like completely changes the game.
Oh yeah. Did you go for A+ Professor right off the bat?
100%.
Oh yeah. Then it made the game way easier in a way because you got to do so much extra training and battling early on.
Yep. So it's like I think what did I just do? I think it's I just did the thing where you go to the tomb for the first time and like people are trying to steal stuff from the tomb.
Mm-hmm.
It's also where you first encounter the Death Knight. By the way, apparently stealing from the Death Knight is considered a hostile action.
Oh,
and
no.
Yeah. So I had to like figure out, okay, what do I need to do in order to steal the Death Knight? And then, because I also didn't realize that he will proceed to chase after all of your people when you do that. And I lost my main character a whole bunch of times because of that.
It's hard. You got the way I beat him in those, because he's really hard in those early maps, is just drop gambits on him until he's low, and then have somebody get the finishing blow without dying. Because otherwise, he pretty much counter attacks and kills anybody who hits him.
Yes. So what I ended up doing was basically moved everybody to surround like the boss leader at the top.
Uh-huh.
And then like left my main character down by the Death Knight, like sitting right next, just outside of the attack range of the Death Knight. And then was like, okay, all right. So I'm convinced that my other 10 people can beat up this boss. All right. Main character just walks up like one square. Oh, hey, Death Knight, here. I'm going to take that dark seal from you. Okay, I'm going to put that in my pocket. All right. We're just going to have a nice chat for a bit. And then beat the rest of the boss, and then I don't have to worry about him dying because the level's over. I'm going to use this strategy quite a bit. But yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of watching my main character just get absolutely skewered. And then having to like Divine Pulse, like, oh no! I did a couple times where I was like, okay, I can take enough to survive the hit. And then I can move away, and that'll be okay. All right, and then I found out that's totally not the case. But like Divine Pulsed and had to go back like 8 turns kind of a thing just to make
Yeah.
sure that I changed up the math so that way it wouldn't play through the same exact sequence of events. And then what would happen is I'd get crit, just one shot. But yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also learning that Raphael really, really needs to brawl. Because
Yeah.
holy moly,
Punch Man.
One Punch Man.
it's
Yeah.
yeah.
I've watched some
So-
playthroughs where his crit is high enough that he is basically One Punch Man.
Oh wow.
My first playthrough, it was I made him, I think, fighter into armored knight into fortress knight into great knight,
Mm-hmm.
and then I actually looked up the stat growth and everything, and I was like, oh, well, I could do this instead. So now my plan is fighter, or it was fighter into brigand, into fortress knight, into war master, until I master that stuff, and then maybe go into great knight to round out some stats or whatever. But yeah, holy moly. And it gets around his one weakness, which is low speed, by just the fact that brawling automatically gives him 2 attacks.
No.
Yeah. It's yeah.
The game's great. I wish I keep finding myself wishing there was just more
Look,
content.
you know that there's going to be there is an expansion pass, and stuff will be.
But I don't know what it's going to be. One's just a harder difficulty.
Yep.
Which I don't, from hearing what it is, I don't think I want to play it. That's like, sounds like it's going to be too hard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because like it saves after every move and stuff like that. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It really makes it hard.
Oh.
Because hard mode's not hard, I don't think. There's a couple fights that I have to really think my moves a little more.
As Courtney
most
will
of the time.
know, I had to replay that first, like, the mock battle like 8
Yep.
times. Because I would lose somebody crucial during that battle. And then I was like, no, can't do it. Or I'd lose my main character, kind of a thing. And it was finally, I was just like, okay, I lost somebody. And I was like, nope, gotta keep going. I can't keep playing this.
My second playthrough, I just found it so easy because I was able to level grind so hard earlier that just
Mhm.
made it so easy until really the last couple, again, like my first playthrough, the last couple fights were, they weren't that bad. It wasn't as bad as my first playthrough, like where the last 2 fights were really flipping hard.
Yep.
Yeah.
They were tough the last 2 fights, but again, I was so powerful, I could kind of push through it.
I
never made too many mistakes. It wasn't too bad.
I'm also learning how to, like, just keep people paired up so that way they just really build support with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, basically, it's like, start of a battle, boom, everybody split off into your pairs. It's like,
Yeah.
well, and then Raphael just has Bernadetta as like an adjutant. So it's like, okay, Raphael and Bernadetta, okay, you go off with Ignatz and Marianne, all right. Lawrence and Hilda, you're just in the back because you guys can't move very fast because Lawrence is now my stride mage. Where Lawrence just casts movement speed on everybody, and everybody just goes bye and like takes off halfway across the map.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Just so you guys know, the expansion pass.
Yeah.
Wave 3 have additional quests in it with a free with an update, and wave 4 will have new story content with additional playable characters, locations, and more.
Nice.
But that won't be out until April.
That's fine. I mean, that's totally enough time to play through all the other stuff that's coming out, and then
it'll give you a month to play through Final Fantasy VII when it comes out in
Animal
March.
Crossing.
Yeah, so that'll be out at the end of March or end of April. Sorry.
Like
even better.
I said this the first week. My biggest gripe is that Black Eagles really should have like 4 or 5 more missions.
Yep.
To complete their story.
Yeah.
Because they, unlike everyone else, they have only 18 chapters, where everybody else has 22 or close to.
Yeah.
They also skip out on like one of the crucial end game areas too.
And like,
from what I understand.
There's like a lot of story built up
Yeah.
Where like they had enough for 4 more chapters to really tie up the loose, like the whole
To get a conclusion.
those who slither in the dark thing. Like, yeah, they talk about this the whole time, and Hubert's like, yeah, once we finish this war, we're gonna focus on the bad part of the Empire that you've been working with. And it's like, oh, cool. So we'll beat everybody, unite Fodlan, and then I thought the last 2 chapters will be dealing with that. Perfect. That's a cool way to end it.
Mm-hmm.
And the game just ended after you. I was like, oh, I really felt like there was a little chunk here that
maybe those guys are just all talk. Because everybody else takes care of them. And I was just like, I played through that part, and then immediately my first thought was, oh, Josh would really love this part. And then I was like, oh, wait. He didn't get that.
Yeah, I was just
I
like,
was like,
man,
this is entirely up Josh's alley right here.
like we need to finish off the Death Knight and all these guys for good.
Yeah.
Like that should be the end. But
Yep.
And that's where I thought all the lore dump would be initially, and obviously you
Yep.
played the Golden Deer for that.
No, you got to play through Investigation Hufflepuff.
Yeah, I think that'll be when I do another run through. I think I will too.
I really feel like in terms of superheroes, if Dimitri is Batman, just in terms of like being edgy and like just focus on revenge or whatever, like
Yep.
I don't know. I feel like Claude is like Columbo.
Wait, who?
Columbo.
Columbo.
Oh, jeez.
Or
That's-
any of our
No,
time.
yeah, because you'd gone all robot-y to me,
Oh, okay.
so I didn't even hear it when you.
Ah.
Yeah,
So
no,
who's
that's
Edelgard if we're doing superheroes
Um,
or villains?
I mean,
If
so
you wanna
basically
classify her.
kind of becomes the big bad to fight the bigger bad.
so Loki.
Sylvanas.
No, she's not mischievous,
Yeah.
and she's not as evil as Sylvanas. I will definitely say that. My opinion. Anyway.
She's just misunderstood.
No, I mean this. I'm going by the Black Eagle playthrough. She's not as like insane. She's not even close to as insane as Dimitri is in his playthrough.
Yeah.
Oh no, Illidan.
Yes,
I'd
there you
say
go. That's
say
actually-
there we go.
that's pretty fair.
Yeah, no, 100%. Edelgard would totally say, "I am my scars," and then proceed to just laser beam.
Well, what's her whole thing? I'm carving my path. Like that's
Yeah.
what she always said. I'm carving my path.
She does
Which is
it
interesting because
she
of
and-
a gift
she
that
and-
Dimitri gave her when they were kids.
She and Illidan do it both literally, carving their path.
She does.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, she's totally Illidan. And
Yeah,
that Black Eagle is the Illidari.
and spoilers for the end of Blue Eagle here, or Blue Eagle, Blue Lion.
Mhm.
Like Edelgard literally transforms into a monster as the last boss.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Well,
so,
that's
like,
quite different than Golden Deer.
Yeah, like she, like this humanoid dragon monster she turns into
Okay.
at the end.
Hmm.
Like you go to Enbar, the Empire capital, to
Yeah.
fight her, and she just I don't know if it's implied that she like sacrificed Rhea I don't know. Like, because she was holding Rhea captive at the capital, and if I feel like it's implied that she did some type of weird, like, spell or sacrifice with Rhea to get like dragon powers, but it turned her into some weird monster. Well, it was like I don't know how to describe what it looked like, but
Yeah.
like this
We can
angelic demon thing.
we can discuss this more off stream because I
Yeah,
know it's getting kind of
but-
late.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
But so yeah, anyway, I think we've talked enough about Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Yeah.
joining us, folks, for the 8-Bit Adventures podcast. I know we
Glad
ran a little
I
long.
converted you all to this game.
I know. I know. I was totally not going to get this game when they first announced it. I was just like, it's Fire
And
Emblem. I'm not
then-
going to pay any
No,
attention
like
to it.
I
Or whatever.
wasn't even.
I almost
wasn't
didn't
even.
either. I almost didn't.
Yeah.
And
No,
I was like,
I
you know what? I've got the time to play it. I might as well play it.
Yeah, no,
And-
I was totally not like, oh yeah, it'll be a cool game. I'll get to hear the guys talk about it. And then it came out and I was like,
Yep.
I need this. Sean, I need
Yep.
this. We need to
Yeah.
figure out how to make this.
Yep.
I
So.
need to figure out when I'm getting this.
It's about as
Yeah.
close to a 10 out of 10 as I could ever be, but we can finish the show.
It's
Yeah.
I
Anyway, so thank you for joining us. If you'd like to see more content from 8-Bit Adventures, please check out 8-bitadventures.com. Over there, you can find streams, podcasts, videos, artwork, comics, all that good stuff. If you would like to help support that content and would like to get cool access to exclusive content and bonus content, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/8bitadventures. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and get most of those benefits. Big shout out and thank you to all of our current patrons. And finally, our opening theme is One Up by Professor Shy Guy. You can check out all of his awesome work at professorshyguy.bandcamp.com. With that, we are done. So have fun, everyone. Happy gaming. Enjoy your pie cake. And please go rescue Sedith and Flane from the McDonald's playpen.
Bye, everybody.